Fala, meus amigos! Fala, minhas amigas, sejam muito bem-vindos, muito bem-vindas a mais uma entrevista do Ibagenscast. Quem fala aqui, como sempre, é o Manu. Antes da gente começar a trocar uma ideia com o nosso convidado, peço para que você se inscreva no canal, ative as notificações, deixe o like, que é muito importante, nos siga nas redes sociais. Se quiser e puder contribuir com o nosso trabalho via Pix, considere se tornar membro do Ibagenscast. O link está na descrição, tranquilo? Nosso convidado é uma lenda do heavy metal, uma das grandes vozes do metal europeu e mundial. Ele que foi vocalista da banda Kamelot, agora se reuniu novamente com a banda Conception, vai fazer um grande show com o Edu Falaschi, está participando do novo disco da Maestrick. Temos muitos assuntos para conversar. Estou falando do Roy Khan. Roy, it's really good to have you here, man. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Doing great. So, do you live in Norway? Are you in Norway right now?
Yeah. I'm in Norway.
Great. To start, Roy, I've always considered you one of the best vocalists in heavy metal, and one of the
Thank you.
reasons is that I've always felt that your vocal lines have always had a touch of pop music. Am I right? Do you like listening to pop music, especially from the 80s?
Yeah.
Always noticed some influence from that in your vocals.
Yeah. I mean, initially I came from pop music in the sense that, up till when I was 16, I was pretty much only listening to pop music. And I still, I still listen to pop music. I've always been a sucker for, the catchy stuff. But I also like, complicated progressive stuff, but surely also the catchy stuff. So pop music, there's a lot of good stuff there that I like.
Nice. So you will be doing a big show with Edu Falaschi on July the 5th at Tokyo Marine Hall. And you've already had done a show with Edu Falaschi some time ago. It was a big show, a big event. So I want to know, how did you met Edu in the first place? How was it for you, the experience of doing that show with him? And what can the fans expect from the upcoming show in July?
Well, I mean, first of all, I've met Edu at festivals and certain shows through the years. I met him one time at Prog Power in the US, where I talked to him, and he reached out to me via a mutual friend 2 years ago, and where he asked me if I wanted to do a guest appearance at his show in Sao Paulo. And yeah, sure, I wanted to do that. And he asked me if I could play a Kamelot song, which was cool. I mean, because I hadn't played Kamelot in many years. So we did Center of the Universe, which is one song, and the big difference between then and now is there are more songs. Plus, there's going to be an orchestra, and yeah, I mean, whatever tricks or cool things we can apply to the show along the way from now and until it takes place on the 5th of July. I'm sure we're going to make it a package that's going to be very good for the fans.
Nice. Your show will be celebrating the anniversary of Camelot's The Black Halo. I want to know, what memories do you have of those times with Camelot and of the album's songwriting and recording?
Yeah, well, like you said, it's the 20th anniversary of the Black Halo. That's the main reason why I want to do this show in Sao Paulo in July, of course, to celebrate this very important album in my catalog. And the one thing that I remember most significantly from that period is the pre-production, because I had a autoimmune disease that had been attacking my eye nerves for a while, so I couldn't really see straight during that pre-production. And I was in hospital for it was quite serious. I was in hospital for 4 months, and then I had to stay in Norway for half a year while being under surveillance by the hospital, to make sure that this disease was going away. So we had to do the whole pre-production in my living room or in my old house. And of course we had SPV. It was the first deal we did with the first record I did with SPV. So we had better budgets, and yeah, there were quite a few things that we worked with first time with Simone and Shagrat from Dimmu Borgir. All of these cool things. We were making our first videos. So there were a lot of things that were really cool that were taking place in connection with the Black Halo.
And 20 years later, how challenging is it for you today to sing these songs from 20 years ago?
Well, some of them have to be taken down. You know, like your range will naturally fall a step, a half
Yeah.
step, and then another. You know, at least 2 half steps over the years. So some of the songs need to be taken down a little bit, and you know, but you know, the melodies are still super. I love these songs, and it's all a matter of putting them in the right key, you know, and from there and out, it's all about performance and you know, having good people to play the song, play the music, have somebody to arrange the orchestras and stuff like that, you know, so it sounds the way it should. But all of that is on track. I have now orchestrations and scores for 3 songs, fourth one coming up. So I think it's important to mention, at least in interviews, that you know, this is not going to be. Some people think I'm going to play the Black Halo from beginning to end. I'm not going to do that. This is a guest appearance warm-up show before Edu's show in Sao Paulo, and I'm probably going to play about 40 minutes. So it's going to be most of the songs from the Black Halo, but not all of them. But those are the songs that I'm going to focus on this time around.
Yeah, got it. And Edu will also be celebrating an album in case Temple of Shadows from Angra.
Mm.
It was released in 2004. Did you got to meet Edu and Angra back then? And did you listen to the album Temple of Shadows? Do you know it?
I wouldn't say I know it, but I've heard it. And obviously I knew some of the Angra stuff, you know, from earlier, because Angra was working in the same studio as we were, you know, in the beginning. And
Oh,
but after a while, huh?
they were working on the same studio as Camelot?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Angra and Kamelot in the beginning, yeah. Angel's Cry, for example, was recorded in the same studio as where Kamelot records. Um, so I knew some of that stuff, and then there was this split up in Angra, and Edu came in, and I knew some of the stuff, but you know, I wasn't super familiar with I mean, any of it really. It's not like I listened to a lot of the music in my own genre, but I've excellent musicians, great singers, good stuff.
Great. So did you met Angra at Angel's Cry? Did you had any chance to
Mm,
meet Andrea
uh,
Matos?
yeah. I met Andre a few times in the studio. Yeah. He also did the Virgo project with both
Sasha.
Shaman and Virgo with Sasha. Yeah. So we met quite a few times. Yeah.
Nice. This show of yours at Tokyo Marine Hall is a solo show. So, do you have any
Hmm.
plans to record and release any solo stuff in the future?
Yes. So probably in during 2026 there will be something. I would think a single or two, and then an album in early 27 maybe. But I'm just kickstarting this whole thing with these live shows. You know, using the opportunity of the 20th anniversary of the Black Halo to come out and put a band together and you know, do some live stuff on my own feet.
Great to hear that. So, Maestrick, the Brazilian band, they will release its new album Espresso della Vita Lunare in early May, and you will be
Yeah.
featured on the song Lunar Vortex. First of all,
Yes.
congratulations on your performance on the song. I saw the video and you
Thanks.
seem to really give yourself over the song. It's great to watch. It's incredible. I want to know how it was for you to be featured on that song, and what did you think of Maestrick and of singing and performing with Fabio Caldeira?
A great band, great songs. I listened to, before I said yes to doing this, I listened to an old album they had, or the previous one, and there's something about Maastricht that they want to do so much, and they actually managed to pull it off in a pretty nice way. I like the theatrics and the way they set up the songs and the all the acting and I get so much imagery in my head, when I listen to their music. So very cool band and very cool people. And like working with Fabio as he was doing the backing vocals and helping out with the vocal arrangements for the show in January last year, or yeah, last year. We had some moments where we sat and talked and figured it might be a cool thing to do something together. So yeah, Fabio contacted me when they had Lunar Vortex going and sent me a file. I recorded here in Norway, sent the file back, and then we had already planned to go to South America with Conception. So that's how we managed to squeeze in a little video recording after we had done the South American tour with Conception. So I stayed a couple of days extra.
Right. And since you'll be here in Brazil in July, can we expect you to participate in any of Maastricht shows? What do you think of this idea?
Well, not this week. I mean, the week that I'm there, I need that for, just getting over the jet lag, rehearsing and preparing
Yeah.
for the show. So it's not going to happen this summer, I don't think. No.
Okay. Um, let's talk about Camelot a little bit. Camelot first albums always had a strong connection with European medieval culture, including
Mm.
Arthurian themes, stories and dramas of kings and queens, and medieval war. So, uh, what is your connection with this theme, and do you intend to bring these references back in future projects?
No, I've never really had any connection to those type of themes, really. We kept some of it in there in the beginning when I was starting working with Camelot, from the beginning. But that was to make the transition not too abrupt, But that whole medieval scene and you can always use some of it, some references, but that whole world is not really very me. So after, at least after Karma, there was not much reference to those type of themes, I don't think. And I
Right.
don't,
And
I'm not planning on bringing any of that back for solo stuff, no.
okay. And do you miss your time with Camelot?
If I miss it,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no. The quitting was one of the best decisions I've ever made. But of course, I mean, the Camelot, represents some of my best years. Both career-wise and also in my development as a human being. Those years were definitely important. And but at the same time, that the life is what it is, and I had to make some choices, and I think those were the right choices. They've always felt right, and but you can always, I mean, anybody will always miss, the best time of their lives, and but I'm very happy. I'm still today when I'm playing concerts, whether it's in front of 300 people or 3,000 people, I love it. It's just something about the passion of doing music itself is still burning within me, and yeah, I'm still having a very good time. And I hope that shines through, I hope that that is something that uh, flows over to the audience when I'm performing.
Yeah, well, Canada was one of the biggest bands in Europe and in the entire world. And so after you leave Camelot, how different is
Hmm.
life when you're not in one of the biggest metal bands on the planet?
It was a very sudden and abrupt transition. But at that time, I was really sick. I was totally burnt out and just really sick of the whole business. So in the beginning, it was very easy. I just felt ease and comfort by not having to think about, making music, performing music, traveling, doing concerts, all this kind of stuff that I've been doing constantly for 20 years, before that, constantly. Every year, there was some musical project. We've got to remember that I've been doing that. I've been doing that for 20 years straight, at a pretty high level. And yeah, I guess my system just said, this is enough, Roy, you gotta take a break. And yeah, took some years, but hey, I'm back.
All right. I want to talk about Conception now. You
Hmm.
have released your latest album with the band in 1997, and after more than 2 decades, you finally reunited with the band. And then
Yeah.
the State of Deception album was released in 2020. So, how was it for you to reunite with the band? How much you've missed being in the band and recording an album and releasing it?
No, I mean the with Conception, we stayed friends all the time. We met once in a while, but in that long period where we didn't play together, we still met, privately. And our history goes so far back, and made an impact on us in a period where, those years were so formative, those first years as a musician, where we had the development of the whole band and each individual, from the last sunset to flow, 7 8 years there, 6 7 years that were extremely um yeah, uh those were very important in the development of us as musicians and songwriters. uh and I guess that connection we had during those years made the reunion in 2018 very natural, really. I mean, obviously, it was a bit nerve-wracking to go on stage for the first time in 10 years, but apart from that, it was, quite natural.
Great. And does Conception have any plans for a next studio album?
Yeah, we're working on songs. We have a few songs, but you got to remember that these songs that ended up on My Dark Symphony and State of Deception, those songs were written in the period between 16 and 19. Those 5 years, or those 3 years. I mean, 3 4 years. And we've been writing some songs along the way now, but we're still, looking for, I guess. Um, I guess we just don't have the all the songs that we need to have to go ahead and book time for another album. But it is coming. I would say maybe in 20, there will be something in 26, and maybe an album in 27. Maybe. I hope so.
Great. Um, you you have always had great songwriting partners. For example, in Camelot,
Hmm.
you and Thomas Youngblood wrote a lot of music together. While
Hmm.
in Conception, you wrote a lot of stuff with Tor Otsby. So, how
Hmm.
different was the process for you in each of those bands and with these different musicians?
Well, I mean, it wasn't that different. I would say that with Conception, Tura is he has more finalized ideas with that he brings to the table. But they're both very uh, both me and Thomas are very complementary, like we have skills and ears and eyes for different things. And that way we sort of, like make a whole that, is a good setup for making cool music or art or whatever, so but the process itself is quite similar. We just meet up, lock ourselves in a cabin up in the mountains or whatever, and then we just sit for 10 days, 14 days and just write music. Some of it is good, something feels great right on the spot, some of it feels meh, okay, and pick it back up, maybe a half year later, and there's something there that kicks off a spark. But writing a whole album is a tedious process, takes time.
Right. And how is it for you? How do you start writing a song? It becomes, it starts with the melody, it starts with the lyrics, starts with the guitar riff that you think of. How is it for you? How is that process for you?
For me personally, it almost always starts. It either starts with a piano, something, or a guitar riff, or vocals, like a melody that I have. I never start with the lyrics. I don't think maybe a couple of times I've done that in the past, but almost never.
Oh, it's interesting. Um, right. Of all the albums you recorded in your career
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
Camelot and with Conception, uh, what is that album that you say is your best? Is there anyone?
Um, I would think that the Black Halo, like so many other people, I would say that that is an album that captures the full spirit of what Camelot, is and was at that time. And I also think that the whole lineup and the whole team working with Camelot at that point, including Simone and Shagrat from Dimmu Borgir, everybody were at some sort of peak in their career, and everything just seemed to line up perfectly for that album. We had a budget for the first time, and all these new possibilities opened up for us. So if I had to pick one, it'd be the Black Halo. But I'm proud of everything I've done from the Black Halo and up till now, and pretty much everything. But from the Black Halo, there was budgets and uh, uh, there was money enough to do whatever we had in our heads.
Great. To finish the interview, you
Hmm.
already reunited with Conception, and you even sung on the latest Avantasia album again. So
Hmm.
during all this time you've been out of Camelot, you must have received a lot of requests from fans to reunite with the band again. Do you consider doing it? You would you say yes to a Camelot reunion with you? Is something that you think of, or is something that you haven't thought about?
No, I mean, as long as we find the right situation or the right time to do that, I think both Thomas and I, are open to doing something like that. Maybe, maybe one day, but there's nothing concrete, on the steps right now.
All right. Well, right. I think this is it. I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate for the interview. So, time is yours to
Thank
leave
you.
a
My
last
pleasure.
message to your Brazilian audience.
Absolutely. So, want to thank everybody in Brazil that's been supporting me, and really hope to see you all at the Tokyo Marine Hall on the 5th of July. See you there. Bye bye.
Okay. I'm gonna finish the interview in Portuguese, okay, Roy?
Sure.
Pessoal, essa foi nossa entrevista com o Roy Khan. Espero que vocês tenham curtido. Se vocês gostaram, deixem o like. Não se esqueçam de se inscrever no canal, ativar as notificações, nos sigam nas redes sociais. Quem quiser e puder, contribua com o trabalho do canal via Pix. Considere se tornar membro do canal, o link está na descrição. E aguarde nossas próximas entrevistas. Tá bom? Até as próximas entrevistas e é isso aí. Falou!